Now on CoastTV News.
Targeting eminent domain, a land dispute in Milford inspires new legislation. We break down the details. Bird rescue update, new details on the thousands of birds found abandoned at a Delaware post office. And a local library dig, how a federal move is impacting services on the coast.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
The city of Milford almost took this land through eminent domain, and now new legislation is trying to prevent that from happening again. Good Friday evening. I'm Christina DiRobertis. Welcome to Coast TV News at 11. We begin tonight in Milford, and that's where property owner Annette Billings almost lost her land to eminent domain last February. You may remember it sparked protests in town, even a billboard that looked like a spaghetti western. Now, one state lawmaker introduced legislation looking to prevent eminent domain situations like this from happening again. Annette Billings almost lost her land here on South Rehoboth Boulevard last February. Today, she remembers the experience as a nightmare.
It was wrong, and nobody should have to go through that.
The city council eventually reversed its decision on Billings after massive public outcry. But State Representative Brian Shoup is pushing for concrete changes in Milford.
The new city council that came into place and many residents were calling for a situation, a formal situation where this would not happen again. And this proposal does just that. House
Bill 146 says the city cannot use eminent domain for recreational purposes. And Billings says she understands the stipulation.
It may be fair for some things like highways, hospitals, schools.
Shoup says personally he feels eminent domain should be banned altogether, but says it was a give and take between the state and local leaders.
The council, when they had their discussions about their own city council, said there may be instances for utilities, for electric lines or for sewer or water to get them to residents. There maybe needs to have eminent domain in that situation.
The bill now awaits consideration in the House Administration Committee. New tonight, we have an update on a story that we first told you about earlier this week. It's about the thousands of baby birds rescued after a USPS shipment went off track. Delaware's Department of Agriculture says more than 10,000 chicks, ducklings, and other birds were found abandoned in boxes at a postal center in Newcastle. They came from Freedom Ranger Hatchery in Pennsylvania, which says it doesn't know how the birds ended up in Delaware and is investigating. Sadly, around 4,000 birds did not survive, but the rest are now being cared for by the First State Animal Center, which hopes to begin adoptions next week. New at 11, attorneys general from several states, including Delaware, won a court order stopping the Trump administration from blocking federal funding. Delaware AG Kathy Jennings' office announced this week it temporarily stopped the administration from dismantling agencies that fund public libraries, museums, and minority-owned businesses. Library officials say efforts to maintain and increase all sources of funding are critical.
We already know from the county that we're going to be receiving less money. So we're having to take a hard look at our budget. And we're trying to figure out, where can we cut corners at? What's going to happen?
Now, according to the Delaware Libraries Association, in 2023 and 2024, the state received $1.38 million in federal funding from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Now to Fenwick Island, the town looking for candidates to run for town council. There are 4 open seats, each with a 2-year term. To qualify, you must be a U.S. citizen, at least 21 years old, a property owner or resident, and registered to vote in town for at least a year. The deadline to file, that's June 18th, and the election is going to be on August 2nd. Now we're taking a live look outside into Ocean City, and our First Alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, joins us now with a check on the First Alert weather. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Christina. Yeah, it was quite a gloomy day on Delmarva. We had some spotty showers, some areas of drizzle. Rain wasn't all that heavy. You could see 24-hour rainfall totals just shy of an inch in Ocean City. We were at 1/4 of an inch Georgetown, 1/2 an inch in Cambridge. Highs today, well, with the rain and the clouds, we stayed well below average, 69 in Georgetown for a high 71 in Ocean City. Any shower or drizzle activity has pushed off the coast. Drier air is filtering in as high pressure pushes to the east. We are currently at 54 in Salisbury under mainly clear skies. You can see temperatures at 55 in Rehoboth. We're at 52 Bridgeville and 54 in Georgetown. Well, our Mother's Day weekend is going to start off quite spectacular. Plenty of sunshine for our Saturday. It will be a bit on the breezy side with temperatures in the lower 70s, and it gets even better into Mother's Day as temperatures will be pushing near 80 degrees across a good bit of the Delmarva Peninsula. We'll talk more about that Mother's Day weekend and some unsettled weather down the road coming up in that full 7-day forecast. Christine?
All right, thanks, Chris. I love that for Mother's Day. Now we go to Wicomico County, where the Salisbury bypass could see a major expansion. The county is exploring the idea of extending the bypass around the west side of Salisbury to create a full circle. Funding for a feasibility study into the idea was included in a priority transportation project letter that the county sent to Maryland's Department of Transportation. It would likely be years away from even being studied, but County Executive Julie Giordano says a bypass completion would benefit the county.
I think we're growing enough to where, besides just the beach traffic, I mean, we have a lot of people in our area too, so I think it'll help alleviate with that traffic.
And the county also asked the state for a study to reduce weaving where the bypass merges with Business Route 13. That's near the mall. Chincoteague officials say a long-awaited water project is still on hold. It's because of funding. The town bought land to relocate its water wells in 2018, a year after NASA found contaminants in the town wells on its property. The town, again, wants to relocate its wells off of NASA's property, but Chincoteague Town Manager Mike Tolbert says it's difficult to secure funding without an accurate project cost estimate.
Study would, when it was done, would be probably 50% drawings and complete with a very accurate estimate of what the cost would be. And it would be developed to a point where we could then take that and go back to Congress and ask them for money to actually do the construction.
2 NASA engineers and a UMES grant writer helped town officials prepare its application to the Virginia Department of Health for an emerging contaminants grant. The town manager says that the $11 million grant would likely cover most of the relocation project costs there on Chincoteague. Well, now to international news. With an American being elected as the new pope, one question for many people is how will he fit into the political landscape as a world leader? Lauren Make reports.
When the new Pope, Leo XIV, stepped out onto the balcony, he gained a new role in a changing world.
So this is an opening. It's a new page, right? I think many people who have identified America in these last few months with Trump will see at this Pope, and they might nuance a little bit their idea about America.
Massimo Fagioli is a church historian and professor at Villanova, Pope Leo XIV's alma mater.
Pope Leo XIV was very much aligned with Pope Francis on the issues of immigration, on Catholic social teaching. So this is an extraordinary move because it's a series of messages to the Vatican, to the global church, to the United States, to U.S. politics.
The Pope's actions watched for messages beyond just words.
I'm encouraged by Pope Leo XIV's choice of his name as Pope. I see it as a recognition of Pope Leo XIII, who was known as the Pope for the working man.
I talked to Senator Chris Coons about how lawmakers handle the potential for the Pope to influence political issues.
He doesn't have a vote in the Senate. He doesn't have a vote in the House. But when he speaks, how much of an impact could he have politically?
Well, I was in the chamber when Pope Francis came and addressed Congress. The breadth of the issues that Pope Francis spoke to us about was a reminder that the Christian gospel is not a partisan political document. It doesn't narrowly advocate just for Republican Party ideas or Democratic Party ideas.
Coons said Democrats and Republicans both found things in that speech to be encouraged by. As the Pope takes on his new role, past social media posts now scrutinized. While he was still a cardinal, Robert Prevost posted on social media a headline from a story referencing the vice president that said, quote, J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others, end quote.
I would have assumed that now that he is Pope, Pope Leo will have a much less vigorous social media presence as a person.
Christopher Nicholas is a Republican political consultant.
What's the challenge for the president and potentially the vice president, too, in terms of navigating this new relationship with this new American Pope?
Well, look, the Catholic vote in America has been about as evenly divided as the country has been in the last 10 or 20 years. There's now another world leader who was from America. Until the other day, we had one world leader who was from America. That was President Trump. And now we have two. Now, how they interact with each other, I don't think probably either of them knows that yet.
Now, sticking with news about the new Pope, we learned today about a local connection to the Pope. Jim Martin, he's a man known for helping homeless people in Georgetown. He attended the same seminary as Pope Leo, just 4 years apart.
I never met him. Now, I want to be clear about that. I never met him. But I mean, we walked down the same pathways. You know, the seminary program was back in the woods behind Villanova. And I know we walked back down the same pathways together. You know, not together, but you know, he walked all those same paths that we walked. You know, so and I'll tell you what, it really set me up for what I'm doing now, because I always had a mission for helping the poor, even as a very young person.
This does bring us to our CoastTV poll tonight. We want to know what you think is most interesting about the new Pope Leo XIV. Let's take a look at the updated results. Take a look at your screen. You can see 45% saying it's the most interesting that he's American. 33% say emphasis on charity. A few say that he's a Villanova alum, a math major, or has dual citizenship. I think all of those things are interesting, but you can let us know what you think. Just go to CoastTV.com or use our mobile app to vote. And we are just getting started tonight at 11. Coming up next, an update on the Sean Diddy Combs jury trial and when prosecutors say a key witness could take the stand. But first, it is Friday, so that means your cool things to do this weekend are coming up next.
And it's going to be a gorgeous weekend in both Cambridge and Crisfield. Bright blue skies, 74 Saturday, 72 into Saturday in Crisfield, and we're near 80 degrees by Mother's Day in Cambridge. We'll be back with more news in just 60 seconds.
Well, whether you're beach bound or looking to explore some history or looking for that perfect last-minute Mother's Day gift, there are plenty of cool things to do on the agenda this weekend, so let's get into it. First, top surfers from Maryland and Maine are hitting the waves all weekend long in Ocean City. It's from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, and it's totally free to watch in person on the beach, or you can live stream it online. Over in Lewis, Train Day is rolling into town. You can celebrate rail history from 10 to 2 at Lewis Junction with speakers, displays, and activities. In Rehoboth Beach, it's Broad Walk on the Boardwalk. Saturday at 9 a.m., the fundraiser is organized by Camp Rehoboth, and it commemorates those who have been affected by breast cancer. All proceeds go to the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition. And Saturday in Dewey Beach, it's the 14th annual Arts and Fun Fest from 9:30 to 3:30. You can thank local art, handmade goods, plus free parking there in Dewey Beach. And you can find all the details, everything you need to know about these events on CoastTV.com. Just look under Cool Things to Do.
Well, we are on the cusp of the weekend, a very important weekend at that, as we honor all those great moms across the area. Ocean City, right now we are at 57 degrees. Winds are now out of the northwest at about 12 miles an hour. You can see temperatures across the area are in the lower to mid 50s, 55 Rehoboth. We're at 53 in Milton, 54 Georgetown, and 52 in Milford. Wind flow out of the northwest, a little bit stronger at the coast, anywhere between about 10 to 15 miles an hour. 69 degrees today was the high, so we were shy of that average of 73, due in part to the showers and the drizzle and the cloud cover that we had in play. Small cramped advisory is up through 6 o'clock Saturday. We're going to see some winds gusting upwards of 30, 35 tomorrow afternoon. Ocean City down to Chicotee, that's up through 1 in the afternoon, and then for the Bayside, that's up through 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So there's the rest of the drizzle. Showers passed through Chicotee just a short time ago. Drier air filtering in, and higher pressure is going to allow for bright blue skies for our Saturday. So it's a gorgeous start to the weekend. It'll be a bit on the breezy side throughout the afternoon, but the sunshine is going to continue into our Mother's Day as some areas push to near 80 degrees. Clear skies through the overnight and through your Saturday morning. Not a whole lot to track here on Futurecast. We could see a few high clouds filter in late Saturday through Sunday as a weak front passes through. But by Sunday afternoon, we are pushing the upper 80s to lower 80s, I should say, to upper 70s. And then we are in the lower 70s at the coast. So tomorrow, wall-to-wall sunshine, 71 in Milford for our high, 68 Rehoboth. We're at 71 in Cambridge tomorrow afternoon, 71 Salisbury, 72 in Ocean City with those winds gusting upwards of 25 to 35 miles an hour. Chicotee, a beautiful weekend there, 72 on Saturday, 77 into your Sunday as we make our way up through Fenwick Island, Ocean City, 68. And then we're near 70 by your Mother's Day, and then a bit milder here towards the north. Lewis, 77 for Mother's Day, and then nice 72 in Rehoboth. Now, precipitation chances are going to ramp up as we go to Tuesday into Wednesday. There's going to be an area of low pressure to the south. That's going to lift northeastward, and it may be one of those, another one of those pesky cutoff lows that just kind of sits off to our west and spins moisture for multiple days, Tuesday through Friday. So I have to keep a close eye on that. You can see scattered showers moving in late Monday through Tuesday. Could be seeing some heavier rain, even a rumble of thunder in the early Wednesday morning. And then maybe we clear things out by the tail end of the week. So a slight chill tonight. We're down to 49. Mostly clear, plenty of sunshine for the start of our weekend, 74, and we are near that 80-degree mark for Mother's Day. Your 7-day forecast shows that shower activity rolling in Tuesday through Wednesday. Those are the two rainiest days of the week, but we could see some of those showers and storms linger into Thursday and maybe even into Friday, but we're up to 84 degrees by Friday.
Again, Chris. Well, the former girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs could take the stand as early as Monday in his sex trafficking trial. Cassie Ventura is expected to be one of the first 3 witnesses called to testify against the music mogul. Ventura is referred to as Victim 1 in the indictment. Friday, prosecutors said Victim 1's testimony will take up most of the first week of Combs' trial. They allege Combs coerced her into having sex with male prostitutes, but Combs' attorneys have said all sex was consensual. Also new tonight, new developments in the Menendez brothers case that could bring the 2 men one step closer to a potential release from prison. Eric and Lyle Menendez are currently serving a life sentence for shooting and killing their parents in Beverly Hills back in 1989. Mary Bell Gonzalez explains what happened in court today and what comes next.
Friday, a legal victory for Eric and Lyle Menendez, the brothers convicted of murdering their parents more than 30 years ago. A judge denied Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman's request to withdraw a resentencing motion.
The issue with the Menendez brothers is not never, that they should never qualify for resentencing. We said it was not yet.
The resentencing efforts began under the prior DA administration, who pointed to the brothers' rehabilitation in prison and new evidence that supported claims of sexual abuse at the hands of their father, among other factors. DA Hochman also argued that the brothers committed cell phone violations in prison, but the judge ruled those were not worth withdrawing the motion.
You add in the findings now by these board-certified psychologists that also talk about deceit meaning that they are no longer constitute the low level of risk, but have risen to a moderate level of risk.
Lawyers for the brothers also withdrew a motion to dismiss Hochman from the case following a, quote, conflict of interest.
I pulled the recusal motion.
With these legal obstacles now resolved, next week's resentencing hearing could be key in determining if the brothers will remain in prison or be released after decades behind bars.
I've seen their journeys, and they are absolutely well suited for this process for resentencing. And I have no doubt that if we stay fair throughout this proceedings, that we will see them out.
Reporting in Los Angeles, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
Coming up in sports tonight, Sussex Tech softball has been on fire lately. Could they keep their winning ways alive against Padua Academy? And coming up, Mother Knows Best, how science is backing up mother's intuition in tonight's Health Minute.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved new food color additives after a push to remove harmful artificial coloring. Friday, the FDA announced 3 new natural food dyes. The first, Galdieria Extract Blue. It's a type of algae that's found in volcanic hot springs or large craters. Then there's Butterfly Pea Flower Extract, which is also a blue color. It's made from the water that's extracted from dried flower petals. And lastly, there's calcium phosphate. It's white and it has been approved to use in chicken products and candies. New research shows that cinnamon could have adverse reactions with some prescription drugs. Scientists examined the primary active ingredient and how well it's absorbed when ingested. They found that it's rapidly metabolized into an acid that can affect drug metabolism. Officials said more research is needed to look into specific interactions, but they say you should consult your doctor if you're looking at taking it as a dietary supplement often. Well, Mother's Day is this Sunday. It's a time to honor and appreciate all that moms do in our lives, including the way they can often know when something is off, even when no one else in the family picks up on it. Well, a psychologist says there may be a scientific reason for that. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on why some believe a mother's intuition is a real thing and how moms can build and strengthen that inner voice.
So let's get...
It's a phenomenon described as an awareness in a mother's gut as to what their child is feeling, thinking, doing, or sometimes when there's a danger, and it can happen even when there's no evidence of a problem.
It's like an internal radar system that is tuned in specifically to your child.
Psychologist Susan Alberts with Cleveland Clinic says it's not magic or a superpower. Instead, it's a bit of neurobiology and learning history, due in part to pattern recognition. She says spending time with your child releases a chemical that helps you feel bonded to others. It can strengthen the connection and help a mother interpret what a child is going through. But she says sometimes intuition can be confused with anxiety.
A simple way to tell the difference is that intuition is that clear, calm, internal voice in your head that gives you a little nudge. In contrast, anxiety is loud, chaotic, and a little bit like a siren. Urgency.
Albert says self-care, like exercise, managing stress, and a healthy diet can actually help that voice be stronger and clearer. And she says a mother's intuition isn't something people are born with. Instead, it's a bond that can be built and strengthened.
You can do this by watching your child's behavior, listening to their tone, observing, spending time with them, and truly being present. Also, listening to that gut and seeing how it correlates with the reality of the situation, matching those two up.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
After an up and down start to the season, Sussex Tech is playing its best softball with the season winding down. And the Ravens had a chance to make it 3 straight wins today, taking on the 9-4 Padua Pandas. In the third, Tech already up 1-0. Haley Lawson chops it to third, and Paige Krebs beats the throw home. Ravens grow the lead to 2 on some hustle. It's now 3-0 in the fourth. That's when Madison Myers whacks it through the hole for another RBI. The Ravens are rolling at home, and they weren't done. On to the fifth. Krebs cracks one into right center field. A pair of runs trot in to score, and it's a 6-0 lead. In the 6th, Adriana Heck adds more on. Lasering one into left center. Another run comes in to make it 7-0 on the RBI double. Later in the frame, Krebs stays on a rampage, grounding it right back through the middle for another base hit. She was on fire all day long, and she helps lead Sussex Tech to a 9-0 victory over Padua, its 3rd straight win. The Ravens wrap up the regular season with 3 road games, the first coming on Monday against Del Mar, a group that's won 4 straight themselves. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night, everyone.
Well, all the cloud cover, showers and drizzle. Well, it's getting out of here just in time for the weekend. We're at 54 in Salisbury. Clear skies through the overnight. Most of the area is going to dip in, I think, in the upper 40s to lower 50s as we go into our Saturday, though. Wall-to-wall sunshine, a bit on the breezy side. We'll see some gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour. But for our Mother's Day, we are looking at a high of 80 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Robert Schmidt of Bridgeville, Delaware, you're the winner of our Paul Davis umbrella, and you get your forecast anytime by dialing our First Alert Weather phone. Now, your extended forecast shows unsettled weather. We cloud up Monday, late rain, and then Tuesday, Wednesday look like rather rainy days with on and off shower and thunderstorm activity. And then we have a chance of thunderstorms Thursday, but we do begin to warm up pretty nicely into Friday and Saturday and Sunday of next week with temperatures in the lower 80s.
All right, looks good to me. Thanks, Chris. And thanks to you for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. If you're looking for some more local news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app, and you can join us again tomorrow for Coast TV News at 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next. Have a great night.